We'll never be defeated! We're here today to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the outdoor relief strike, and it's very important today to have an anti-sectarian broad left front in opposition to the austerity that the Tory and Stormont governments are implementing on the people of Northern Ireland. The whole theme is based around March for the Future for young people and jobs. A quarter of people in Northern Ireland, of young people in Northern Ireland in fact, are unemployed, and the Stormont executive don't have a strategy to deal with.
Alright, I got involved with Youth Fight for Jobs because I saw that young people weren't being made to pay for a future as a result of the crisis that was caused by the bosses and the bankers. Basically, we've called this march to unite Catholic and Protestant workers together in an anti-sectarian movement, similar to that of the outdoor relief strike which we're commemorating.
We've organised this March for Jobs today because 1 in 4 young people in the North are already not in employment, education or training. The cuts which the Assembly Executive, all of the main parties in the Assembly are implementing are going to destroy more jobs both in the public sector and in the private sector. They have no solutions to deliver jobs for young people, and they're also coming after education. They plan to cut EMA and we're seeing cuts in college places as well. And we want to say that young people will fight back. Young people defeated their attempt to bring in EMA in 2010 because Catholic and Protestant young people came together and said that they would fight that attack. We think that that can happen this time around again, and we want to launch that campaign with this march. And we're also saying that young people are sick to death of sectarian division. We're marking the 80th anniversary of the outdoor relief strike here, which was a struggle which brought together Catholic and Protestant workers and young people from across the divide to fight against the poor laws, and they won. We want to mark that and to say that we want jobs in the future, not sectarian division.
I want a better job when I get older. I want to have a job when I get older.
EMA is here to stay!
Here today to try and bring the Youth Fight for Jobs up to the Assembly to let them see that we will fight for a future.
Youth Fight for Jobs today is trade unions and students and community workers working together, marching up the Shankill and down the Falls, because this problem affects all our young people and communities. We're fighting for jobs for young people. We're calling out to the Northern Ireland Assembly to do something because we're getting into a situation that is desperate. 25% of our young people, of the figure of unemployment, are young people, and we need to do something about it.
I think it's a disgrace that they're cutting EMA from a student's point of view. I go to Lisburn Tech, and it encourages me to go to Tech, so I think it's an absolute disgrace that the government's cutting our EMA when it encourages young people to go out and get an education to get a job.
No ifs, no buts.
We have mass youth unemployment in both these communities. Young people in both these communities are going to be deprived of their right to a decent education, to a free education by the politicians, both at Westminster but at Stormont. The politicians of different shade and different sectarian hue at Stormont are united in putting the boot into working class communities on either side of this line. We say the working class people, the young people, have much more in common with each other than they do with those politicians who claim to represent them at Stormont. Congratulate everyone for coming out today in what is a bold statement of unity across the divide. Particularly welcome the workers and people from the Shankill and the Falls who have joined us today. If you look throughout the history of Northern Ireland, for example, the 1932 outdoor relief strike, there is example after example of working class people coming together across sectarian division and fighting in their common interests and finding common ground. The 1932 outdoor relief strike was a shining example of that, where the Shankill and Falls were the backbone of that struggle. And whenever the state and bigots tried to divide that struggle, for example, when the police fired live rounds on workers on the Falls, hundreds rushed from the Shankill to defend them. And on that day, 2 people were shot dead, 1 Catholic and 1 Protestant. They fought together and ultimately they died together as well. Whenever they unite, Catholic and Protestant workers and young people, they can't just for a moment, kind of pull down the sectarian facade. They can fight, they can win, and ultimately they can consign sectarian division to history. Young people, earlier on in 2010, the Assembly Executive tried to bring in a cut to the educational maintenance allowance. There were protests, spontaneous protests by Catholic and Protestant young people, and that terrified the Assembly Executive, that terrified all of the parties in the Assembly Executive. So even Minister Stephen Farr of the Alliance Party, who was committed to that policy, was forced to back off. They're coming back for EMA now, and that could be a huge battle around which young people can be united, and we can begin to build a political alternative to the bankruptcy of the sectarian parties here in Northern Ireland. Thank you.
They say cut back.
We say fight back.
Cut back.
Fight back.
Cut back.
Fight back.
Cut back.
Fight back.
Well, I think it's very important that people turned out here today to show the support for young people and young workers, because young people are getting a very hard time. There are no jobs for them. Unemployment's around the 24% for people between the ages 18 and 24. Education's been dismantled for them. It's a race to the bottom to see who thing. And it's no hope. On the other end of things, you have pension age been risen up, benefits been cut, so it's just there's no future for young people at all. And I think it's very important that people get out, stand up and fight back.
Well, we're out here today on the anniversary of the outdoor relief riots to not only commemorate that, the coming together of the two communities in Northern Ireland, but also to highlight the fact that the opportunities for the youth today are so minimal, and the government always talks about cuts and cutting back this. Well, it's not going to be sustainable. You're just going to have a generation completely lost to destitution, and we just want to stand up and fight back against it, and we want to make it clear to Stormont that we're not going to stand for this.
Support the union workers' rights. Stop the cuts to education.
Got a wee bit of a social going on. Anybody across the road, please move over.
I'm a student from Newry, and I'm here to defend jobs for young people for the future.
We have far more than a Titanic building in this city. Up on the hill in Stormont, we have politicians of all colours who have been playing Titanic politics with young people's futures since the minute that they were all elected. And young people are very easy targets for politicians because young people have no vote. The only time a politician pays 1 ounce of attention to anybody under the age of 18 years of age is in the month of their 18th birthday, when they will send you a letter promising you the world. Unless, of course, they're running for election and you have the misfortune of being kissed by one, which unfortunately is like being kissed by a rattlesnake. Yet this Tory government and our Assembly have broken every single promise they have made to young people since their election. They know they can save themselves because they have the means and they have the money to do so. We, on the other hand, are stuck in third class, and our only way out is to break out and fight out. And by standing together like this, like our ancestors did in the outdoor relief strike in 1932, we can smash the iceberg up. By fighting back and breaking out, we can take the enormous wealth that is in this society and we can use it to provide a better life for everyone. By fighting back and by breaking out, we can secure decent jobs. We can secure a decent, affordable education service and a better future for all. Thank you. These young people today have said enough is enough, and I agree with them, and we need to do something, and we need to call on the people who make the decisions to do something, because enough is enough. Our young people and society generally see no future, no prospects and no jobs. There is more spin about the welfare reform bill that it's to simplify benefits and to move people from benefit into work, and that's just not true, because there are no jobs. You can only claim that if there are jobs to put people into. So please, let's work together to defeat the welfare reform bill and the plan within it, and to help our young people have a future. Thank you.
So why are we here? Young people simply have no choices anymore,
A massive 170 million has been cut in capital expenditure from education, giving our generation a shameful statistic of almost 1 in 4 young people not in education, not in training and not in employment. The Assembly claim to support young people, but when it comes to refusing to implement these cuts, they simply shy away and let it happen. Another massive issue is the Assembly's plans to cut the number of people receiving EMA by at least 50%. The Executive have been keeping this generally low-key as they are afraid of a repeat of 2010, when young people from both sides of the sectarian division united in protest, forcing the Assembly to back off from cutting EMA and increasing the fees. EMA is a fortnightly payment of £10 to £30 which students can use to help with costs such as travel, food, school supplies or for savings. 1/3 of young people receiving EMA say they would not be able to continue in education without it. This just shows that implementing these cuts are a direct attack on the disadvantaged and robbing us of our financial independence. There has even been a 49% drop in college applications in England and Wales since the government there snatched their EMA, and we will not let this happen here. During the summer, we saw sectarian violence once again on the rise, taking the focus away from the real issues that affect young people no matter what background they're from. So let's join the campaign. Let's fight the Assembly's austerity. Let's demand free access to education, demand decent jobs and demand EMA for all. Let's follow the example of the students back in 2010 and let's make today the start of something really, really big.
Thanks everyone very much for coming, for uniting against sectarian division, demanding a future. I'd like to thank NIPSA and Unite in particular for their support. I'd like to thank UCU, Craig Evans Trades Council, PCS, the National Network of Shop Stewards, the NTUA, the Socialist Party for their support, as well as the Workers' Party, Youth Fight for Jobs Scotland, Send Over Leah, and everyone else who's involved in making this reality. Of course, I'd like to still encourage people to stay for the pro-choice demonstration and also come around and join us in Voodoo and Fountain Street afterwards for the social. Thanks very much everyone. Thank you, bye.